In the caisson ceiling reaching for the sky. In the elegant postures and swaying costumes of flying apsaras. In the tremendous amount of Dunhuang manuscripts. In the skin and eyes of each exquisite sculpture. And even in the faded murals. And the marks carved into the walls. The ancients left behind countless mystical patterns and codes. Each symbol and code is imbued with profound historical and cultural messages. What they contain goes beyond the culture of a single ethnic group, a single nation, or a single era. Instead, they embody the shared essence of civilizations throughout history. Are these remnants a riddle for us to solve? A hint? Or do they serve to impart enlightenment about civilizations? Across the haze of over 1,000 years, how should we approach and interpret the thoughts of the ancients? What did they seek to convey? The legend of enigmatic Dunhuang codes is also told far away, across the seas from the Eurasian continent, on the British Isles. In Dartmoor, Devon, England, a cathedral from the 15th century stands as a testament to the former glory. Art historian Sue Andrew has dedicated years of her life to studying a mysterious pattern. Almost at the same time, not far away in South Taunton, photographer Chapman focused his lens on the decorative wood carvings of the church roof. What inspired his creative endeavors, and what captivated Sue's obsession, was the same enigmatic pattern.
My thinking behind this artwork was that every time I came in here, and especially on a dull winter's day, these beautiful carvings were very, very difficult to see. You were forever straining your neck and you needed a very powerful torch. And I just thought, well, actually, if we come here and photograph them individually and try and marry them into one artwork.
It is a wooden decoration, faintly visible amidst the shadow. Through Chapman's lens, we can fully grasp its intricate details and craftsmanship. 3 hares, sharing 3 years, chasing one another, in an eternal cycle. This unusual design concept amazed Chapman, and filled him with questions. Even more mysteriously, this same pattern appears frequently across Paderborn, in Germany. Tia Mao, the founding Chinese director of the local Confucius Institute, has long been intrigued by this hare pattern.
In Paderborn, we have a saying, 3 hares, 3 ears, 3 connections. Each hare has a perfect pair of ears. It's also a symbol of life, the perpetuation of life, an endless cycle of renewal. Female hares give birth to many offspring. In both Catholicism and Christianity, hares symbolize fertility.
It is well known that hares appear frequently in myths and legends around the world, often embodying divine qualities. Strangely, however, the precise meaning of 3 hares sharing years remains elusive both in Eastern and Western historical records. Paderborn Cathedral, built in the 13th century, houses the earliest known appearance of this pattern in this city.
Its widespread dissemination in the world also indicates that Paderborn, our home, was never an isolated island away from the hustle and bustle of the world. A church in Germany. The acoustics here is fantastic.
Then, let us now extend our view eastward, across the vast continents of Europe, Asia, and Africa. Three hares in an eternal chase has widely occurred in the architecture and decorative arts of various religions and cultures. What inspired this shared human imagination? In 2000, Andrew Chapman and archaeologist Tom Greaves founded the Three Hares Project in Devon. They spent over a decade tracing the origin and journey of the three hares, traversing Central Europe, Western Asia, and Central Asia, until finally reaching Dunhuang. They compiled the patterns and their findings into a book, demonstrating the incredible journey of the three hares.
As for the meaning, that's much more difficult to determine because, of course, it occurs in very many different cultures. It occurs in Buddhism, it occurs in Islam, it occurs in Judaism, and in Christianity.
Some people say in a Christian context it represents the Trinity. In Islam, there are references to prosperity and longevity.
Having lived and worked in Paderborn for nearly 2 decades, Thea Mao has been increasingly intrigued by inquiries. Why is the pattern ubiquitous in this city? What does it stand for? Where did it originate? These questions kept driving him on.
I began searching for the three hares online. And to my surprise, I found that it also exists in Dunhuang. Not just one, but many. And the oldest ones are there, in Dunhuang.
Motivated by these questions, Thea applied to join the Dunhuang Cultural Custodian Global Volunteer Program, and was selected, earning the opportunity to learn and practice at the Muaga Grottos of Dunhuang. Along with 9 other volunteers from various places, he spent 42 days of training to enter the Muaga Grottos, delving deeply into mystical secrets. After over 1,000 years of weathering, the Muaga Grottos still preserve 735 caves, among which 492 contain murals and painted sculptures. Over 45,000 square meters of murals and more than 2,000 painted sculptures. Countless codes of human civilizations are hidden within. For preservation purposes, the doors of the Muaga Grottos are usually kept closed. Only when the instructor unlocks them with special keys can people glimpse the wonders inside. Generally, visitors to the Muaga Grottos are allowed to view only 8 physical caves. However, due to the training, Thea had the rare opportunity to enter some specially protected caves. The key in the instructor's hand was no ordinary key. It opened not just a door shielding the caves from wind and sand, but also unlocked the answers to Thea's lingering questions. The caves of the Muaga Grottos have designated numbers and vary in shape. Some resemble rectangular corridors. Some are like halls. and some include a central pillar that visitors can circumambulate. Correspondingly, the ceilings exhibit diverse styles such as vault, flat, and truncated pyramidal ceiling. Inside the caves, elaborate decorations abound, featuring celestial beings and earthly figures, interwoven into vivid, dynamic scenes, brimming with spirit and vitality. The caisson ceiling is the highest part of the caves, and the center of the vaulted ceiling. Artists adorned these ceilings with intricate patterns that symbolize the vast sky, serving as a passage to celestial realms, and embodying people's boundless imagination and aspiration for the heavens. Among the numerous caisson ceilings in the Muaga grottos, 17 feature the intriguing patterns of 3 hares. The caisson ceiling in Cave 407 is particularly striking. A lotus with 8 petals floats in the center, with 3 hares chasing each other at the heart. Surrounding the lotus are 8 flying apsaras and swirling petals, all moving in the same direction as the hares. Astonishingly, all elements, including the hares, adhere to the golden ratio. While gazing up at the caisson ceiling and marveling at the remarkable craftsmanship, one cannot help but wonder, why did the artists choose this pattern for the ceiling? How should we decode the meaning of this pattern today?
So, in Chinese mythology, Buddhist mythology, there is the hare in the moon. This is where the hare is. The head is roughly at 12 o'clock and the ears stretching down to 2. But as the night progresses and the world is spinning, this is what happens. The hare moves, and by dawn, an artistic Buddhist monk in the caves in Macau, who come out one night on duty from his particular cave, meditating, he stares at a full moon and he thinks, gosh, that would be the most wonderful symbol to use as an aid to meditation.
Could it be, as Chapman speculated, that the 3 hares in the Muaga grottos are related to the moon? Zhao Yanlin from the Dunhuang Research Institute has found compelling evidence. Yunju Temple stone-carved scriptures was inscribed around the 8th century. Although the inscription is incomplete, careful examination reveals the phrases, 10 crows in parallel, and 3 hares in flight. The crow is a solar symbol, so the 10 crows represent the sun, echoing the myth of Ho-I. Correspondingly, the 3 hares should symbolize the moon, embodying the ancient Chinese belief in the lunar deity. Through study and exploration, Tia Mout discovered that many traditional Chinese patterns employ the concept of symbiosis and date back much earlier than the 3 hares. Dunhuang artists likely adapted traditional designs to craft this unique pattern.
From the perspective of artistic design, the concept of symbiosis and these patterns should originate in China.
But why 3? The number 3 holds particular significance in traditional Chinese culture. Repetition, cyclicity, and reproduction. It also aligns with Buddhist notions of nirvana. The 3 hares are like past, present, and future. A cycle of reincarnation.
There are 3 circles and 3 squares in the pattern, with a ratio of 5 to 7 to 10 between them, which corresponds to the square root of 2. In ancient China, the square root of 2 had a special meaning, representing orbicular sky and rectangular earth. Thus, the pattern on the caisson ceiling depicts this traditional Chinese idea: orbicular sky and rectangular earth.
As we mark the locations of the 3 hares on a map, it is noticeable that they form a clear linear distribution, which astonishingly coincides with the ancient Silk Road. So, this remarkable alignment raises intriguing questions. How was this cultural code initially created, and how did it spread to various parts of the world? Zhao Yanlin's research answered the question that had puzzled Jia for years. Located in Cave 302, the 3 hares on the heavenly palace's bounding wall appear to resemble a preliminary draft. However, it is the earliest known instance of this pattern in the world. Based on the faintly visible inscription on the central pillar of the cave, June 11th, the 4th year of Kaihuan, it is suggested that this pattern was painted around the year 584 AD, during the early Sui dynasty. After the wars of the previous dynasties, the population declined in early Sui. The wish for children and prosperity was a simple aspiration among the common people. Immigrants from the Central Plains or passing travelers may have adapted and reimagined the hare pattern they had seen in their homeland.
Dunhuang had the earliest examples, Xinjiang followed, Central Asia came later, and Europe was the last. By tracing this sequence of clues, we can roughly infer that this pattern originated from Dunhuang and spread elsewhere.
Some Western scholars have suggested that the pattern of 3 hares might originate in the Central Plains. Later, during the Mongol Empire's westward expansion, it spread through textiles and other artistic crafts along the Silk Road from Dunhuang to Mongolia, India, and other places. Subsequently, it spread from Central and West Asia to Africa, Egypt, and Europe. Other scholars propose that it was the Eastern Crusaders who looted a lot of Eastern artworks that circulated in the West. Although these theories are speculative, they sufficiently demonstrate that over 1,000 years ago, the artistic and cultural fringes, along the central axis of the Silk Road, across the Eurasian continent, were already exchanging and responding to one another. Dunhuang, this small city, was a vital node for the exchange of the East and the West at that time. Two decades later, the members of the 3 Hares Project reunited at St. Michael's Church in Devon. The starting point of their journey tracing the 3 hares. Like the hares in an eternal chase, they continue their quest to explore the value and meaning of civilizations.
Rather lovely to have it alongside a cushion, a modern representation of the 3 hares from this church, Sprayton. And it's lovely to see these designs being reworked by modern craftspeople. And here we've got the beginning and the end of the journey in some respects.
After returning to Germany from his trip to Dunhuang, Jia Mao shared his discoveries with his students at the Confucius Institute. The enigmatic 3 hares has been a cultural bridge, connecting the emotions and minds of people from different nations and ethnicities. From the earliest conception to artistic transformations, this pattern is the product of the collision and fusion of different ethnicities and cultures. Its value and significance have long surpassed the pattern itself. It represents the enduring quest of people from different regions to explore the unknown the infinite and eternity. The decision to depict the three hares on the caisson ceiling of Dunhuang further signifies enduring imagination and aspiration for the vast sky. Having worked at the Dunhuang Academy for nearly 40 years, no matter how busy his schedule, Zhao Xingliang always walks through the caves. In the dim and hazy light, he reads the traces left by the ancients. These are the civilizational codes recorded by countless monks, craftsmen, and painters over the past 1,000 years through their crafting tools. Motivated by a profound desire to explore the unknown, at the Mulga grottos, the artists crafted a romantic and magnificent celestial realm. The most frequently depicted deity is flying apsaras. In more than 270 caves of the Mulga grottos, over 4,500 flying apsaras from various periods can be found. The largest stretches over 2 meters, while the smallest measures less than 5 centimeters. With flowing robes and fluttering ribbons, they soar freely, appearing to drift and hover ethereal, yet tangible, evoking a romantic vision of a celestial paradise. Why are so many flying apsaras depicted in these caves? And where does this image originate? The answer lies in the ancient grottos in India. Located in central India, the Ajanta caves are among the oldest grottos in this country. The Waghra River forms a horseshoe-shaped bend here, and the grottos are carved into the cliffs along the river, stretching over 550 meters. Their excavation began around the 2nd century BC, nearly 500 years earlier than the Mulga grottos. In the 29 remaining caves, a distinct image appears repeatedly. These figures are often symmetrically carved within solemn depictions of Buddha's preaching assemblies, typically nude, or draped in flowing ribbons. They offer flowers, treasures, music, and dances to the Buddha amidst aromatic incense. These are the early Indian representations of flying apsaras. In the ceiling mural of Cave 2 at Ajanta, their images are depicted even more realistically. Intertwined as if embracing, they resemble lovers, subtly introducing worldly sensuality into the sacred realm of religion. However, it is less known that the image of flying apsaras appeared even before the birth of Buddhism.
In ancient Indian mythology, there is a legend in which gods churn the ocean of milk, and the spray transforms into celestial beings known as apsaras, or flying apsaras we saw in Dunhuang.
They are ethereal beings without wings or feathers, free from the constraints of gravity. This is one of the most fantastic imaginations and artistic creations of ancient Indian artists. In China's early caves, flying apsaras also exhibit an otherworldly elegance, presenting a transcendent artistic style. Traveling eastward from Dunhuang into the Qilian Mountains of the Heshi Corridor, we arrive at the base of towering cliffs after traversing winding paths. This area lies within a restricted protection zone, previously closed to outsiders, and accessible only to researchers and maintenance personnel. Climbing 211 steep stone steps carved into the red cliffs, we are greeted by the legendary sculptural marvel. The Jinta Temple suddenly appeared in front of us. According to widely accepted theories, the Jinta Temple grottos date back over 1,600 years to the Northern Liang period. Despite its small size, this site contains over 200 sculptures and over 600 square meters of murals. The large suspended sculptures of flying apsaras here are unique in the world. On the four sides of the central tower in the eastern cave, over 20 suspended flying apsaras appear to descend from the heavens, kneeling in devotion before the Buddha. Looking up, one can feel the speed and the dynamism of the soaring flying apsaras, seemingly on the verge of leaping into the mortal world. Some wear robes, while others are bare-chested with long dresses. Their bodies are all curved in a distinct V shape, retaining early Indian flying apsaras influences. However, their high noses and rounded faces reflect characteristics of northern ethnic groups, exuding a raw and unrefined charm.
The early depictions of flying apsaras seem a little different. Somewhat robust, lacking the lightness required to truly fly. But they possess a lovely charm. The flying apsaras at Jinta Temple marks one of the earliest examples of Chinese Buddhist grotto art.
Around 1,600 years ago, the image of the flying apsaras originated in India, traversing mountains and deserts to reach China. Through cultural transformation and artistic refinement, it evolved into the widely recognized form we know today. The secrets of evolution are preserved in Dunhuang murals.
Ancient Chinese mythology also featured celestial beings, and those gradually combined with Indian flying apsaras. Both shared the ability to soar freely into the sky. After the northern and southern dynasties, Chinese flying apsaras gradually took on a slimmer, more elegant form.
This evolution is captured in Cave 249, excavated during the Western Wei period. In the preaching murals of this cave, flying apsaras of both Western and Central Plain styles are harmoniously combined. The lower figures of flying apsaras appear robust, half-naked, and powerfully curved into arcs, exuding strength and rhythm. In contrast, the upper figures are clothed in loose robes, appearing slender and weightless, exuding grace and natural charm. With the frequent cultural exchanges between the Eastern and the Western, people gradually reached a consensus on the ability of flying apsaras to soar in the air. A light, slender body, and flowing costumes or ribbons. Thus, in the murals, the ribbons and sashes grew ever longer, which has been a defining feature. Their gestures, styles, vibes and charms evolved distinctly from their Indian origins. This transformation marked the birth of Chinese flying apsaras. The flying apsaras in Cave 404 exemplify the artistic style of the Sui dynasty. The artists used blue as the background for the upper part of the four walls, creating a natural lighting effect through variations in color depth. The scene of apsaras flying is vividly presented. Almost every flying apsaras has a different posture. Some steady, some gentle, giving a sense of emerging from the wall against the backdrop of the blue sky. Their robes flutter, and the wall seems to sway with the wind. This embodies humans' desire for free life and unrestrained flight. If we map out the locations worldwide where depictions of flying apsaras have been found, a clear trajectory emerges. Originating in ancient India, flying apsaras stopped briefly in Afghanistan and Nepal, then crossed the Kunlun Mountains to reach western China. After undergoing the baptism of Chinese culture and artistic reinvention, they spread throughout the land of China and beyond to the east and west, recognized and appreciated by the whole world. This route is also exactly the route taken by Buddhism along the Silk Road. For anyone who has visited Dunhuang, the image of flying apsaras soaring is unforgettable. Indian artists Sheikh couple have long explored the common history of Asian countries through artistic practices. In the 1990s, during a visit to the Muaga grottos, they were impressed by what they saw.
I would add to that the figures had fantastic animation. That means they were flying something which was not only mind-boggling, but it all sweeps you away, sweeps you off your feet.
The Sheikh couple combined their cultural heritage with the same mineral pigments found in Dunhuang murals to create a series of new miniature paintings.
As though they are emerging out of the wall and coming to you. It happens in Ajanta and it happens in Dunhuang as well. And I think this is something which brings us closer, in a kind of way. Simply, it emits a kind of a human warmth.
In Sheikh's paintings, flying apsaras, with a new image, gracefully soar over the land of India. This is both a connection and a sharing of civilizations.
We can see that Dunhuang is a convergence of civilizations from various countries. Through mutual exchanges, there is mutual learning, jointly promoting the development of civilizations. So the ancient Chinese civilization, in its development process, continuously absorbed foreign civilizations. Also, Chinese civilization spread abroad and made tremendous contributions to the world's civilizations.
Whether in ancient or modern times, people aspire to fly into the sky, soaring freely like birds. Flying apsaras, transcending the boundaries of life and death, race and nation, is a common aspiration and longing of humanity towards the vast universe. And it is Dunhuang that has preserved and recorded this vital imagination. If we continue to trace humanity's inquiry into the sky, we will find that, as early as thousands of years ago, the ancients had already embarked on the exploration of the mysterious starfield. At a Dunhuang campsite in the Gobi Desert, an immersive meditation is taking place, blending history, the night sky, and the human spirit.
Welcome to Dunhuang. Welcome to the desert. And so tonight what I wanted to do is give an introduction to the cosmos and talk about how Chinese conceive of the cosmos and some of these core ideas. And also,
Neil Schmid, one of the few foreign researchers at the Dunhuang Academy, first arrived in Dunhuang when he was a young backpacker. Since then, he has been fascinated with Dunhuang studies. He hopes to share with travelers from around the world the scene a tongue person might have seen in the night sky. Through tonight's presentation,
look at the conflict. Okay.
These are constellations, but it actually begins with something very interesting over here. And this is for cloud divination, right? So how to look at clouds and mist. Yeah, exactly. So you can see here, for example, right?
Are you saying that this is older than Arabian astronomy?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
No, don't say sorry. I'm not.
No.
I didn't know. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. This dates from about Tang.
At this moment, Professor Schmid is showing them a copy of the famous Dunhuang Star Atlas. The original manuscript was unearthed from the library cave and is now housed in the British Library.
Contains two texts. The first one, when you start unrolling the scroll, is a divination text based on cloud formations.
The Star Atlas is divided into two parts from right to left. The first part consists of 25 illustrations of clouds with varying shapes, with texts explaining their meanings in divination. The second part contains 12 star atlases, and one polar region star atlas, depicting a total of 1,348 stars.
So it's really a document of incredible scientific precision. So you see also here represented some stars which would be almost invisible to the naked eye. So it is absolutely flabbergasting that astronomers in 7th century China were able to detect them and represent them without the use of a telescope, which wasn't invented, in Europe for hundreds of years.
It's hard for people today to imagine how ancient astronomers could observe and identify these stars, and draw them so clearly. Without the aid of modern tools,
the stars are thought to have been sort of observed from a spot that would correspond to the capital Chang'an at the time, or somewhere in Luoyang. And because the knowledge held by astronomers was very much preserved of the imperial court itself.
Exploring the 735 caves of the Muogao grottos, Schmid is engaging in dialogue with the ancients. Cave 61 of the Muogao grottos, excavated in 5 dynasties in the 10th century AD. Contains murals in its corridor that were repainted in the 12th or 13th century. On the walls of the corridor, the mural Tejaprabha Buddha and the 5 planets also depicts the 28 mansions recorded in the Star Atlas. At the center, Tejaprabha Buddha is seated on a chariot, surrounded by star deities. Above, among colorful clouds, the 28 star deities are depicted in groups of 4, holding tablets and appearing as civil officials walking amidst the clouds. The exact origin of these lunar mansion names remains a mystery. But they span the entirety of Chinese history, appearing like celestial markers that precisely align with the seasons. What's even more astonishing is that the mural also includes the Western zodiac or the 12 signs. The 12 signs here correspond to the Western constellations we know today. The artistic style and brushwork give an uncanny sense of time travel. But some constellations were not depicted in the traditional Western forms. Sagittarius, for example, changed from a centaur archer into a person leading a horse, while Capricorn transformed from a goat with a fish's tail into a fish with a dragon head. How did the Western zodiac appear on the walls of the Muogao grottos? Was this fusion the work of Eastern artists, Western artists, or a joint collaboration? We may never know. However, one thing is certain. During this period in Dunhuang, there was already a resonance between Eastern and Western astrology. In ancient Eastern civilizations, astrology played a vital role. Observing the stars to predict the future impacted not only daily life, such as farming or predicting auspicious marriages, but also determined the fate of emperors and royal dynasties. Traditionally, only astronomers designated by the royal family were allowed to survey the skies, name and catalog celestial phenomena, and interpret their supernatural messages for earthly significance. Discovered alongside the Dunhuang Star Atlas was another smaller star atlas, now housed in the Dunhuang Museum. The front side contains fragments of Tung geography. The reverse side features book on divining cloud patterns. At the scroll's beginning is the Star Atlas of the Purple Forbidden Enclosure. It is remarkable that between the 9th and 10th centuries AD, astrological manuals that should have been politically sensitive or classified appeared in the remote caves of Dunhuang. These texts may have been scientific tools prepared for astronomers, guides carried by traveling merchants or military forces, or even divination tools to predict their future. Nonetheless, they testify to the grandeur of the Tong's magnificent star field.
So Western astronomy and astrology were influenced by Babylon, right? By Egypt, right? Of course, by Greece, right? In this mix. But China was always separate, right? So it's very exceptional because it developed this very complex system that then became mixed with, of course, life here on Earth, right? Mundane life, with the government, with the emperor. And it really became a domain for the imperial court.
It was not until 1440 AD, over 700 years after the Dunhuang star atlas, that Europe produced the first comprehensive star atlas. Known as the Vienna manuscript, which recorded the stars of the northern hemisphere from the perspective of the ecliptic pole, although different civilizations across various periods observed and illustrated the stars in distinct ways. These star atlases allow us to clearly sense humanity's unwavering determination to explore the heavens, generation after generation. In another corner of the world, Lazaro, an Indian miniature artist, was also deeply impressed by the Dunhuang star atlas. He is currently creating a series of new works related to the starfield for an upcoming exhibition titled Cosmos. The inspiration for this idea began years ago during a trip to Dunhuang.
Went to the local museum and took lots of photographs, and one of them was a fragment of a manuscript with lots of interesting drawings of cloud divination. And then later on found out that there's a thing called the Dunhuang Star Atlas, and I was kind of curious as to how you'd have these two different forms of science, pre-empirical and empirical science. And that really led me to look at the whole idea of star charts, mapping the heavens, which is where the Cosmos series came into being.
Deeply inspired, Lazaro developed a great interest in the starfield and humanity's connection with the vast cosmos. Through his art, he seeks answers to the ultimate philosophical question: where do we come from, and where are we going? Lapis lazuli, sourced from the Silk Road, is one of Lazaro's most frequently used pigments. The pure blue carries an indescribable sense of sacredness and beauty, evoking the imagination of the infinite sky and universe.
I'm reminding myself of what that actually is and what it could possibly mean. The work that I'm doing at the moment is largely inspired and a response to spending time in Dunhuang.
In a poetic manner, Lazaro integrates the vastly different constellations of the East and the West, along with his own reflections on life and death. Following the trajectories of the stars, he has deeply studied myths of the sky and astronomical sciences from different times and cultures around the world. Amidst bursting ideas, he captured fleeting inspirations. From religious beliefs to natural sciences, star atlases are not merely channels for exploring the heavens. They are mirrors reflecting different cultures across various eras. What does the cosmos truly look like? How will future generations depict it? Perhaps the unknown answers lie hidden within the vast cultural and artistic legacy of Dunhuang. Schmid dreams of buying a farmhouse on the outskirts of Dunhuang and raising a few camels. He describes this seemingly leisurely idea as living in the historical spacetime, or dwelling deep in history.
What the Mogao caves also do is combine human and divine, right? Human and spiritual. And I think there's a lot of materials in the caves that help us to look at ourselves There are so many elements in Mogao caves that come from different cultures that are combined in a really harmonious way that aren't conflictual.
At the beginning of 2022, Lazaro's exhibition in India opened as scheduled. His Cosmos series, inspired by star atlases, delivers a profound visual and psychological impact. Standing before his paintings, bathed in the luminous glow, you can see not only the cosmos, but also the distant echoes of Dunhuang. For over 2,000 years, the cultures of the East and the West, shaped by different peoples and beliefs, have coexisted, integrated, and thrived in Dunhuang, which has left behind countless cultural codes. What we present today is merely a representative glimpse. Those that connect humanity to the secrets of the sky. Countless more remain for future generations to discover, decode, and interpret. The exploration of the mysterious Dunhuang is an ongoing journey, with no end. Dun means vast, and Huang means prosperous. Dunhuang belongs to China, belongs to the whole world, and belongs to all humankind. Though hidden deep in the desert, it stands as an eternal lighthouse of civilizations, illuminating the path of human civilizations, and offering guidance to the modern world. It inspires us, leads our civilizations forward, and guides the world to a brighter future, imbued with warmth, inclusivity, confidence, and composure.